Good afternoon. Today is April 9th, 2014. My name is Dana Kaufman, and this podcast is brought to you by Lifespan Network and is dedicated to the conclusion of the 2014 legislative session, which ended on Monday. This year, the legislature considered 2,692 bills and resolutions. And it is also, it also was a session right before an election, which definitely had an impact on which bills passed and which bills failed. For long-term care, the conclusion of the session was pretty good. We were able to defeat several bills which would have had an adverse impact on operations. Those bills included a bill that would have required CCRCs that have exclusively Type C contracts to do an actuarial study, as well as put additional burdens on nursing facilities and assisted living communities where a registered sex offender may live. So both of those bills did die. There was also there were two bills dealing with the criminal history records check programs and requirements that did not pass. The one bill was House Bill 1511, which would have created the Maryland Criminal History Background Check Program. This is an initiative that the Office of Healthcare Quality has been working on for the past year, but due to several concerns raised by stakeholders, the General Assembly did not push that effort forward, which means that OHCQ will continue to work on that during the interim. A related bill would have required OHCQ or the department to design an employee database bill, which would have required nursing facilities as well as anyone characterized as an adult dependent care program to enter information into a database, employment information, name of the employee and dates of hire into a database, and then require employers to check that database before hiring. That bill also failed due to some technical issues and cost issues. Moving on to the budget, before I talk about the fiscal year 2015 budget, I do want to make note that Charles Milligan, the Deputy Secretary for Medicaid, officially retired yesterday, April 8th. He is being replaced by Chuck Lehman, who has been a long-term employee of the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. So moving on to the actual budget, providers fared relatively well. Nursing homes will receive, the actual budget had a 1.725% increase beginning January 1st, and medical adult daycare also had an increase of 2.5% in the rates beginning January 1st, 2015, which is a little unusual because they usually occur on July 1st. But this year, because of budget concerns and a revenue write-down that was occurring during session, the General Assembly continued those increases to begin January 1st. Now for the nursing facilities, as you are aware, the Medicaid division is looking to transition to a prospective payment system, which they plan to begin January 1st, 2015 as well. So given that and because of issues that have been raised dealing with the losses that many nursing facilities would be experiencing during this transition, the department has committed to increasing the nursing home rates up from the originally budgeted 1.725% to 2.5%. beginning in January, which will reduce the number of facilities that will experience losses as the state transitions to the PPS system. A couple other issues to note that was in the budget. As you know, CMS did approve Maryland's revision to our all-payer model contract. And with that, there were two provisions. The first provision was in the budget bill, which provides for fiscal year 2015, $15 million to the HSCRC to use for the implementation of the changes in that waiver program, but also to create regional and statewide partnerships between hospitals and community providers. The second provision that was included, and it was in House Bill 298, was simply a 6-month status reporting time frame that the department and the HSCRC must submit to the General Assembly and to the governor on the steps that are being taken to implement this new waiver program. And much of that will also depend on the work of the advisory council that has now been formed to assist and advise the HSCRC in the department in those efforts. Continuing on, there were 3 bills that you need to be aware of dealing with what I call the human resources aspect. And of course, that was minimum wage. You couldn't have turned on your TV this year without hearing updates on the minimum wage. That bill did pass, and the first increase will go into effect January 1st, 2015, where the state's minimum wage will increase from $7.25 to $8. 6 months later, on July 1st, 2015, it'll increase to $8.25, and then on an annual basis, it will continue to increase until July 1st, 2018, when it will go to $10.10. Another bill to be aware of is that the state did pass a bill that will require employers with 15 to 49 employees to provide unpaid parental leave benefits. This is very similar to those employers who are already covered by the Family and Medical Leave Act. The bill was amended to allow an employer to deny unpaid parental leave if the denial is necessary to prevent substantial and grievous economic injury and the employee was notified prior to taking the leave. The last bill was the earned sick leave bill. This was a bill that was put in for a number of years that would have required employers to pay for sick leave or provide sick leave benefits to all employees. That bill did fail yet again. And the medical malpractice bills, there was about 6 or 7 bills this year again that was introduced on the issue of medical malpractice. All of those bills again failed. So basically that's the wrap for the General Assembly, the session that just ended. One important to note is that while the bills that I spoke of died this year, that doesn't mean that next year they will not be back. And when they come back, it may be a very different General Assembly. About 1/3 of the legislators are predicted not to be returning because of either retiring or running for other offices. So we're going to see a lot of new faces next year, which means that there's going to be a lot of need to education and meet your local legislators. So stay tuned for additional information on the 2014 elections. And if not, thank you for all of the dedication of our Public Policy Committee and the work that they put in to make this a great session and to advocate on your behalf. And I also want to thank Omnicare for again being our public policy sponsor. So enjoy this wonderful weather and have a great week.